Hey everyone, this is Melinda Zilke, and this is my second vlog for the U.S. event horse Futurity, starting Jorie under saddle. Here's Jorie in her large pasture that she lives in 24/7 with other horses. So large you can't see the other horses in this little video clip. And I don't have much video of when I started her under saddle because I didn't think to take video at the time, and it was before I entered the Futurity, and 90% of the time I'm alone and don't have anyone to video for me. So I'll try to give you a synopsis of my method for starting young horses under saddle. It's really simple and basic. I start out lunging day 1, lunge with tack day 2. If I feel like the horse might be a little squirrely, I might try a surcingle before I put a saddle on them for a day. And then I'll sit up and have somebody lead me around or possibly lunge me. And then I ride and I'm on my own. Walk, trot, maybe walk, trot, canter, depending on the horse. And this takes place over a period of 3 to 7 days generally.
Come on.
This little video clip is something I was trying to take when I was lunging Jorie for maybe the second or third time, and this was probably the first or second time that she was wearing tack. I sat up on her later that day and had a friend of mine lead us around in 2 10-meter circles, and that was it. And then she was turned out for 3 months before I brought her back to Virginia and started her going again. I generally don't use a round pen when I start young horses, except for the truly feral horses or problem horses. I just prefer not to use round pens. I will introduce side reins or Vienna reins after they've been lunged for about a week or so, once they understand the concept of what they're supposed to be doing on the lunge line and can understand a little bit about what the bit is supposed to be teaching them. I don't do a whole lot of groundwork. I want the horses to be polite to handle and not nervous, so they are used to being touched everywhere and they're not afraid of that. But I also don't want them to be pushy or to think that I'm their playmate rather than their leader. So they get correct handling from foal to 3 years old, but not excessive handling. I usually will lunge the horses before every ride for probably about the first 3 weeks under saddle. And obviously the goal is to not have to lunge your horse before every ride, so I want to wean them off of that as soon as I feel like they're quiet enough to do this. And it's generally before the 30-day mark. After that, I integrate our lunging into our weekly work or on an as-needed basis. I also like to introduce one new small thing to the horses when they're in their first 30 days under saddle. For example, one single ground pole that we just walk over. I'll do this in the second or third ride already because one single pole to walk over is not too physically or mentally taxing for a horse in their second or third ride. Of course, you work up to trotting over it, canting over it, adding more poles, trotting over those, cantering over more poles, and that kind of thing. I also will do trot and canter poles on the lunge line. Another small new thing that I always have a goal to do, usually by the 10th or 12th ride, is riding the horse back to the barn at the end of the ride, which is our first, quote-unquote, ride outside of the arena. Because I'm not going to tack up a young horse and take them out on a trail ride cold if I've never ridden them outside the arena. So riding back to the barn one day after our normal ride is a small new thing that they can do. All of these small new things every day build up into normal everyday things that we want to do, but I feel like by doing the small new thing, it's not a giant leap for the horse to make in his mind as you're starting them in the first 30 days. I also like to teach the things that I call horsey life skills, like mounting from things other than a mounting block, being ponied along on a trail ride, and opening and closing gates. This was the first time I had tried opening and closing a gate while on horseback with Jorie. She's maybe about a month under saddle here. And of course, she had been through this gate before when I was leading her. So this is another one of those baby steps. So opening and closing it while on horseback was not that big of a deal for her. And this was our first time ever trying it, and she was pretty good. It didn't really bother her. I'm really fortunate to have Debbie Bowman, a dressage instructor, at the same farm that I board at. She helps me, and I take lessons with her on my other older, more advanced gelding, and she graciously has helped me with Jorie as well. Especially here in this video, Jorie is about 30 days under saddle, and I had asked Debbie if we could do a half lesson rather than a full lesson, because I think at this point the longest I had ever ridden Jorie was maybe only about 30 minutes, and I didn't feel like she was ready for a full 45-minute intense dressage lesson because she's so green at this point. And Debbie was kind enough to say, sure, we'll do half lessons. Not a problem. I had signed Jorie up for a little dressage schooling show the following weekend after we were taking this video and doing this lesson. But unfortunately, I had to scratch because she came up lame the day before the show with a hoof abscess. So we didn't get to do the show, but thankfully it was just a hoof abscess and nothing more major. So our next video will show the next show that we did and a little bit more of her training. So you're all caught up to now about 30 days under saddle. And that's the end of this blog. Thanks for watching, and stay tuned for next month's video.